Hi, everyone. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Donnie Gould, and I'm one of the principals here in Auctions America. And I'd like to welcome you here to Auburn, Indiana, on behalf of Auctions America by RM and Carlisle Events to our Auburn Auction Park. And before we get underway here today, I'd like to make a special thanks to Highland Group Insurance. They're our sponsor of this event here this morning, and they've provided all the refreshments and breakfast this morning, and I'd like to make a special thanks to them. Well, a lot of you people haven't been to the auction park in a few years. I'm sure you've noticed a few improvements that we've done, and it's part of our rebirth program here in Auburn, Indiana, to bring the Auburn Auction Park back to its glory days that many of you may have participated in the past. We got this event off to a great start yesterday. We had a 65% sale-through rate, and it's our first Auburn spring auction, and I'm very pleased with the results, and I hope our consigners and buyers are pleased as well. I'd like to thank all of you, so thank you. I'd also like to welcome our friends from Carlisle Events, Miller family. They're our new strategic partners here at the Auburn Auction Park. They've been in the business for 35 years, and as many of you may know, they are the best at what they do, and we're glad to have them on board to help us build what we have out here in the car corral and the flea market area. And I'm sure that you'll notice this weekend and as the years go on by that they're going to do a fantastic job for us and get that organized and cleaned up, and they're going to have it full, and we'd like to thank them.
Thank you, Donnie.
Okay, in other news, Auctions America by RM, we're expanding very rapidly, it seems to me, but every day seems like we've got something new going on around here. And our newest addition to Auctions America by RM is our motorcycle division. And as you can see, we've got some motorcycles on display over here on the east side of the bleachers. Those motorcycles are going to be part of our offering at our motorcycle auction this Labor Day weekend in September. And the fella heading up our motorcycle division is Mr. Glenn Bader right here. And Glenn's a very knowledgeable motorcycle guy. He worked for Otis Chandler for many years. He was the curator. I'm sure a lot of people you know who Otis Chandler was. And Glenn was the curator of Otis's collection. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to everybody to Mr. Bill Miller, Jr. from Carlisle Events.
Thank you, Donnie.
I'd like to thank you for joining us, and enjoy your weekend.
We have a pretty full schedule here, so we might as well get started. I'd like to introduce our panelists. Of course, we've got such a distinguished lineup here. Everybody knows Reggie Jackson, for Baseball Hall of Famer, and a real car guy besides, believe me. Our next guest is Wayne Carini, host of Discovery's Chasing Classic Cars. Many of you have seen Joe Bortz's car collection pop up just here, there, and everywhere. He's not only just a collector, but has some fantastic 1950s concept cars. Joe Bortz. And as Donnie said before, Glenn Bader, who has just joined RM recently and is going to be the motorcycle specialist. What we're going to do is we're going to ask some special questions to each and every person, and then we're going to pass on from the questions that we hope we're going to get some time for Q&A as far as you folks are concerned too. We've got about an hour to be able to put this together, but you know, that hour goes pretty quickly, but hopefully we're going to have some time for some Q&A. Reggie, how about if we get started with you? As a longtime car collector and auction participant, please compare the retail method of selling versus the auction experience and why you choose to buy and sell at a car auction.
You know, I would say I think that I'm seen on TV at auctions. It's like I'm there every week, but I go to probably 4 to 5 auctions a year. I always make the ones in Phoenix. And of course, I make the ones in Monterey. I live in Monterey, so it's pretty easy to get there. And I haven't been to Auburn probably in 15 years. So I do have some relationships, Bill, with a couple of the people in the auction world. I've known Rob Meyer for probably 20 years. I've known the Jackson family at Barrett Jackson for quite a long time as well. And so I've gone to auctions mainly because I have had relationships with people there. I've had times when I've been a little nervous about going to an auction. When I have gone to auctions to buy, I've taken a look at the car, and as many cars as I've bought and many as I've owned, I have a collection now that's probably more, well, not probably, but I have more than 50 cars. I went probably 30 years with as many as 100. But as I got older, I thought it was time to cut down and pare down, and so that's what I've been doing the last few years. And as much knowledge as I have in buying cars, especially the muscle cars, some of the Ferraris I'm pretty knowledgeable about because I've had Ferraris for 30 years and bought Ferraris when the Daytona coupes were 14, 15 grand. I bought some of the Camaros and some of the LS6 Chevelles when they were 4, 5, 6,000. And a lot of people would say the ball player up in Oakland, he buys all that stuff, sell it to him. I had flown around the country at times and bought cars after the baseball season in New York, and I'd fly up to New York and I'd drive a car across the United States going back home. But in buying cars at auction, it's not easy to do, and the reason I had talked about having cars for such a long time and having some expertise in the muscle car arena and some expertise in the Ferrari arena, and looking at body, looking at equipment on cars and things of that nature, understanding numbers, understanding how to decipher a serial number, understanding how to decipher different codes that should this automobile should have a manual transmission, or this automobile should be a high horsepower car, and you can tell that from serial numbers and different codes on the engines and with ID tags, etc. I still will engage with an expert. And so in buying it at auction, it is important to have someone of significant knowledge, and it's worth paying it, whether it's an hourly charge of $100 or $50, or whether it's a guy charging you $500 or $1,000 for the day. It is worth having someone that has extensive knowledge, because you could, you know, make a $30,000, $40,000 mistake if you're buying a $50,000 car. Certainly the car is worth something, but it may not be worth 60, or it may not be worth 80. It may be worth 20 to 30% less than that. I do think auctions are good places to buy cars, Bill, because there are some people that don't have the network to know where to go to sell their car. So whether it's the internet or whether it's an auction where people are gathered to come to look for cars, especially if the auction has a fine reputation, where they attract the quality buyer and attract the quality vehicle with quality people that are participating in bringing the cars there. Auctions are good places to go, but you must have knowledge, and if you don't, then get someone to assist you that does have the understanding. Bring your books, buy your books so that you can understand date codes and understand numbers and have an understanding of what you're looking at, and there's nothing wrong with asking questions.
Reggie, were you a car guy as a kid?
There's a little story, Bill. I'm from a large family of 6 kids, and I'm looking at Bob Pass back there, and he'll appreciate this story. We sat on the front porch at night with 6 kids and my parents, and before you got your dessert to go to bed or before you could get to the cookies and milk, we played a game on the front porch, and that was watching the cars go by, and if you could name make, model, year, color, you got a point, and the license plate. So if I saw a 66 Nova that was Aztec bronze, that was a 2-door, that was a Super Sport, that had the license plate of Pennsylvania 5W621, I got 5 points.
That's cool.
And that's how I learned about cars. My dad had a dry cleaning business, and he had a route, which was at that time like a paper route, but a dry cleaning route, where we had our customers. He went around and picked up the people's clothing to dry clean, and he was a tailor as well. And it seemed like every day we had to fix one of the trucks or fix something to get it going.